All right. What is up, team? How is everyone doing? How is everyone doing? Love to see it. Love to see it. What's up, Valentino? Let me see. I want to love to see it. One question. Do the videos inside translated multilingual? Currently not. Currently that option is not there. I am planning on creating transcripts though. So it helps with reading alongside of the video. If that helps. All right. Harry, best part of a Sunday. Love to see it. Love to see it. What's up? What's up? What's up? Good day from London. Love to see it, Paul. Love to see it. Waiting on fire. Hallo, hallo, hallo. Love to see it. Curtis, het gaat goed. I'm alright. I'm alright. I'm going good. I'm doing good. How are you? How are you? When does the mentorship start? For the new enrollments, it starts 24th of November. For the masterclass. Essential is always open. But new enrollments for the Essential, you could call it, also starts 24th. Are you Dutch? Yes, I'm Dutch. I'm Dutch. Very much Dutch. From Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. Love that. Lelystad. Oh, that's very close, actually, Lelystad. It's very close to me. It's very funny. Small world. From Morocco. There's quite a few people from Morocco, usually. Love watching your weekly forecast. Keep it up. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm doing great, Abuchi John. Thank you. Thank you. How are you? How are you? I'm all right. Buenos dias from Puerto Rico. Love to see it. Ay. Love it. Quite a few people from South Africa, I believe, as well. Love it. India as well. Miami. Everywhere. Everywhere. Canada. Den Haag. Wow. Love to see that. Love to see it. High probability conditions. Mikasa. Ooh, don't give it away. Don't give it away just yet. Crude oil, for sure, Mark. For sure. For sure. Work in Saudi. Ah, speak Afrikaans. Love that. Love that. Germany. Fake you were Dutch because you sound so familiar to the OTE trader, the guy who narrated. Yeah. Yeah, true. Yeah, the Dutch accent is like, you can't miss it, right? Can't miss it. Jamaica. Love that. Love that. Love that. All right, let's first off, let's get it started. And let's start off with the weekly forecast, of course. Let's also touch a little bit on what we talked about in the Tuesday weekly forecast, of course. Meg. Meg. Yeah, of course, Mikasa. Yeah. I remember Meg. Of course I remember Meg. How can't I remember Meg? Come on. Of course. Yeah. All right, let's first touch on the weekly forecast a little bit. I've just recorded quite a few videos for the mentorship, so I'm a little bit brain fried, but I'm here. I'm here. I'm present. All right, perfect. So then, weekly forecast first. Let's touch a little bit on what happened this week as well. And then what can we expect next week, of course. That is very, very important. So next week, I am looking at potentially high probability conditions like Mikasa also mentioned. But it really depends on what we are about to do. Now, right here on the dollar, of course, throughout the week, I also mentioned I want to wait, and news as well. News was not that great, and the reason why news wasn't that great because we had FOMC and NFP straight afterwards. And the thing I wanted to mainly see was this monthly fair value gap. That is the thing I was interested in. That monthly fair value gap is the thing I wanted to see. And ideally, if you want to push higher, then of course, I want to see higher prices off of this month fair value gap right now. Can we come into that high right there to then continue higher? Yes, I do believe we can do that as well. Now, right here, it is important to understand that currently, I am not looking at the 15-minute time frame and thinking, how can I get involved right here? How can we capitalize off of this ST right there? No, the thing I'm waiting on right here is on the 4-hour. So on the 4-hour, I'm just waiting for bullish fair value gaps. That's it. What I am expecting, though, is that we can potentially reach for that overlapping part. Now, that's not the important part for me, because as long as we're in the fair value gap itself right there and we get bullish fair value gaps, perfectly fine. The previous week low right there, that could be a sweep to then continue higher right there. Once we get that, that would be perfect. Now, that would be great. Again, that is mainly what I'm looking at. I am just waiting still. Because once we get that price action higher, imagine, just again, we talked about this last week as well. Just imagine, and if you're in a newsletter as well, then you saw that I talked about it a little bit, where it's like, imagine if you get this price action right there and you get the bullish price action that we want to, and we get all this context to work with, then the whole thing right here is just one simple entry pattern. As in, from that monthly fair value gap to the monthly high, it's just one entry pattern. And again, based on your market structure, what are we doing right now? We're waiting for that reversal. So we have that context, we're waiting for that reversal. We have the intermediate term high already set right there. We're waiting for it to potentially reach that. We just need an intermediate term low right there to potentially be confirmed. And then we can continue higher. That is exactly what we want to see. So if that happens, then I need you to understand that we want to go full margin. No. Not financial advice or anything, but it is very important that once that happens, that we do capitalize on the ID right there. Again, no pressure, but that we do capitalize on the ID if we do want to continue higher, because that is just such high probability conditions. That is what we would want to see. It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. Again, still waiting, as in I need everyone to understand here that it's currently not that beautiful. I'm still in the same process, as in I'm still waiting, but the first step is there. Monthly fair value gap. Now I need my confirmation. That is the next part. Once we get that confirmation, we're going to 10% risk, boom, get involved. No. When I say that, I'm of course exaggerating. I don't want anyone to blow their account right there just because I tell them to, but I'm going to get involved 100% right there with quite a lot of risk, because I am very confident if that does want to continue higher as well. Because monthly fair value gaps, of course, take 1 month fair value gap takes 3 months to form. So once you have that monthly fair value gap, and you don't get that quite a lot throughout the years if you focus on certain pairs, then once you get that, that's so nice. Remember USD right there. And I made quite a few videos on it on the A to Z guide actually right here. Once this delivered, this was so nice. This was absolutely beautiful, and you don't get that quite often, but once it does deliver, it's beautiful. So that could be the same scenario right here. Could be, of course. We don't know for certain just yet. Very important to understand. Then ES right here. ES and the indices and the rest of the Forex pairs, etc., got a quite big rejection whilst the dollar was coming into the monthly. Didn't really expect that. Of course, I expected a move higher, but I didn't expect a huge move higher like that. We actually have a monthly value gap right there on ES, which we did come into already. Now, currently, I do think that ES might be reaching for that highs, for those highs. And I, again, still want to wait here. The thing I'm going to be mainly doing throughout this week and throughout the upcoming week is I'm going to be waiting for the dollar. If the dollar shows me that 4-hour bullish fair value gap right there that I'm waiting for, ideally above that high of the fair value gap, which is that line right there, the gray box, then that confirms the ID for me. All right, now I can potentially look for shorts on the ES, NASDAQ, YM. But currently, I'm not going into the lower time frame to look for shorts right there, because that is calling a top, and that is not what we're here to do. So that is what we need to wait. Where we need to wait right here to get confirmation if we do want to continue lower, if the dollar does want to continue higher as well. Very important, because if you're trying to call a top, and calling a top is, again, where right now we are inside that PD array, but in this case calling a bottom, and you would already go into the 5-minute time frame right here to look for a potential entry. Monthly PD array, 5-minute time frame, not going to cut it. That's going to take a lot of hits before you potentially get the right move, even if you get the right move, of course. So that is what I'm also looking at for ES, where I'm just mainly, again, same what we did on Tuesday, I'm just mainly waiting on the dollar right now. And if that dollar wants to deliver, it's going to be very, very nice. Other than that, if the dollar does not want to deliver, then my eyes are going to NASDAQ. And the reason why is because NASDAQ right here, we did mention this fake bottom, which I would have liked to see that we got on a sweep right there, which we didn't get. All right, I react. I'm wrong in that case. All right, we might be continuing higher. So in that moment, if we do want to continue higher in the monthly, then we just have monthly context, right? Monthly discount rate, monthly premium rate. This is where you want to get involved. And that is your monthly context again. So right there if the dollar does not respect this monthly fair value gap right there. And even if it does, then Nasdaq right here might still deliver towards this high right there on a monthly basis. And from there, again, we'll see whatever it wants to do. But that could also be very nice, where you might have a retracement into potentially this breaker that's sitting right there. It's quite nice to then continue higher. So that could also be very nice. So along the indices or inside the indices, I prefer Nasdaq the most for potential longs as well. YM, same case here. YM, even a 4-hour fair value gap might be enough to reach for this drawn liquidity. After that, a daily fair value gap higher potentially as well could be nice. Keeping in mind that YM is reaching into a weekly fair value gap. So again, that is something to keep in mind because that will bring some resistance with it, of course. Because again, that creates that resistance that we talked about in, what was it? Not a recent video, but the previous video. Then on DAX. On DAX, I need to sneeze. Ugh. All right. On DAX right here, we are not respecting this weekly fair value gap right there, which was expected, of course, based on the dollar as well. Daily fair value gaps higher could be very nice to then target this first drawn liquidity right there to eventually look to target higher as well. So that is also looking quite nice. Australian dollar, US dollar. Yes, finally. How long have we talked about this? How long have we talked about this? Oh, finally, the monthly fair value gap. There it is. It's a very Dutch thing to say, actually. It's funny. So right there on the monthly fair value gap, we can, of course, if the dollar wants to continue higher, we can continue lower off of that, which again creates extremely high probability conditions right there. So that could also be very, very nice. Again, what you want to wait for is on the 4-hour at minimum, one bearish 4-hour fair value gap right there to continue lower. Once you get that, then the rest, once we are already continuing lower, is just child's play. And the rest is just very easy right there. Then you just need to have those time frames in context again. But we finally have some new movement right here. So that could also be very, very nice, which I'm definitely going to keep an eye on. Then EU as well. EU, same as on the dollar itself, of course, just inversed. And most fair value gap could continue lower, and I do still see it continuing lower. As in, I do still see we deliver into that monthly fair value gap first, right there. That could definitely happen. Am I 100% certain that it will happen? No, because that is why I use confirmations. Because of course, if I was 100% certain, I would already dive into the 1 minute time frame to look for a 1 minute entry off of the monthly PD rate, which is of course absolute nonsense. That is just going to end up in a disaster. So right here, again, same exact premise, where since we closed pretty high inside the monthly fair value gap based on the weekly right there, the previous week high right there could be a sweep to then continue lower, which the previous week high would then be a fake top potentially. So that could be quite nice as well. Then if we look at GU, GU is same exact, where GU I didn't really expect it to come into the monthly fair value gap. But since we're having that rejection, of course, we just react perfectly fine. Then this could also be nice. So there's a lot of potential setups to happen on Forex, on indices, on US dollar pairs. There's great high probability conditions potentially around the corner. Now, if you didn't strategy hop in the meantime, then I want to congratulate you that you have passed the test, so you can potentially capitalize on it, of course. So that is, again, reward yourself by capitalizing on it and reward your patience as well. So same exact thought process that previous week I sweep potentially. If we get 4-hour bearish fair value gaps, I want to look for shorts. That is also looking quite interesting. Potentially, still potentially, because nothing is confirmed just yet. We don't have confirmation that we want to go lower. Then, yeah, I see indeed. GU is weaker, better for shorts. Exactly. GU indeed is weaker as well. So New Zealand dollar, US dollar right here. This is not necessarily where I would want to get involved. And the reason for that is because, yes, this can also continue lower, but where GU and EU just have a very clear premium rate that we can continue lower from, New Zealand dollar, US dollar doesn't have that anymore. As in, we had that monthly fair value gap right there. We didn't fully take the context low, as in I would like to see, or yeah, we did actually, but I would like to see it follow through on that low as well, which we're now having a big aggressive move higher, not creating, or most likely not creating a fair value gap lower just yet. So here on the weekly, we are disrespecting that weekly fair value gap. On the daily, this daily fair value gap is not something I would want to trade off currently. Very aggressive move higher as well. If anything, I would want to wait for a daily fair value gap lower. But you can see I would prefer even Australian dollar, US dollar, which I haven't said in a very long time. Even Australian dollar, US dollar, I would prefer over New Zealand dollar, US dollar right here. Just because it has a clear premium array that can continue lower from. So that creates your interest list. Then on USD Canadian dollar right here. Now this one is a little bit tricky where it can reach for this weekly fair value gap. That is a little bit low though. It can do that, but again, it's the same thought process where on New Zealand dollar, US dollar, we just didn't really have that clear discount rate or clear premium rate in that case where we can head lower from. Same thought process here where I would have liked to see this fair value gap and that high hold if it was overlapping with that daily with the dollar coming into that month fair value gap, which it wasn't the case. So all right, perfectly fine. Then I want to use potentially another discount array, which I currently can't really see right here. Potentially still is weekly fair value gap, but that is quite low. So even if we get a daily fair value gap higher right there, I would be fine to already get involved. So mainly Australian dollar, US dollar, EU, GU, they are looking like the better pairs currently. Then USD CHF, where it's the same thought process, because of course, if the dollar wants to continue higher, this will also continue higher right here. Coming into that weekly fair value gap, which we are currently just a little bit stuck between this weekly fair value gap, that weekly fair value gap right there. So in the meantime, I'm just not really certain on what it wants to do right now if we already want to continue higher. If anything, 4 hour fair value gaps higher right here could be quite nice. But we also have this resistance coming up. Again, you can already tell, is this as high probability as the first 3, AU, EU, and GU that we talked about? Absolutely not. So here, ideally, you don't want to get involved just yet. You want to wait a little bit. Wait a little bit until you get some better premium and discount arrays to work with. USD JPY. This one could as well. This is the same case where the dollar was just not ready to expand higher just yet. As in, the dollar wasn't in that month fair value gap just yet. That's why we didn't expand higher off of that daily fair value gap and the daily order block right there. That was why I waited this week. It was very important for me to wait. Then the next thing is right here, in order for me to get involved again, I need again a clear discount array. Can potentially be this low. Can also be just if we already expand higher, 4 hour fair value gaps higher, or even a daily fair value gap higher if we get that before we deliver towards the very clear drawn liquidity, which is that high. And I believe that's a new all-time high as well. I think it is. Which could also be very nice. Then on silver right here. Dollar going potentially higher, silver potentially going lower. Overall, we've had seek and destroy conditions because of that monthly fair value gap as well on the dollar. Now, right here on the monthly, nothing. But still the same scenario where we have this weekly fair value gap. I'm just not too sure. This is just not really high probability right here. And the reason for that is because the 4 hours is just not following through lower. And this is what we mentioned on Tuesday actually. Where on Tuesday, this is the loyalty test. In the mentorship, we name it the loyalty test. And the loyalty test is just a very easy way of looking at whatever order flow is doing. Order flow is the delivery of premium arrays or discount arrays. So if we have bearish order flow, then premium arrays are holding. If we have bullish order flow, then discount arrays are holding. Very easy. Then if we don't have order flow and we have seek and destroy conditions, then that is the opposite of clear order flow, meaning the loyalty test. The loyalty test is we have this discount array, fair value gap. Did it create a new fair value gap lower? Well, it took a while, but eventually it did right there. This fair value gap did not follow through. Created this fair value gap. This fair value gap did not follow through. Created this fair value gap. This fair value gap did not follow through. Created this fair value gap. So this is seek and destroy conditions. And we can already tell that, of course, very early on when you have this fair value gap alone right there. That is not willing to follow through by this price action right there. So that is when you can avoid all this price action right here. But then it's also important to understand in order for us to potentially get involved again, we would just need a fair value gap to actually follow through. As in, if this wants to now follow through with a new fair value gap higher, perfect. That is what you want to see. Otherwise, you would just not get involved here. You would want to wait. So that is the same on gold, where gold is not that seek and destroy like currently. It's also seek and destroy, but a little bit less, I would argue. But right here, also still want to wait. Not clear on what it wants to do right now. Still want to wait. Bitcoin, this is why I sometimes just don't like doing forecast on Bitcoins, because on Bitcoin, because the thing is with Bitcoin is that it just takes so long before it actually does something, and especially in recent months, because before that it wasn't that bad, but nowadays it's the worst. And right here, again, still the same premise as, 2 weeks ago, where we talked about either daily fair value gap higher or daily fair value gap lower or daily fair value gap higher. That's it. Still waiting on whatever it wants to do right there. Then crude oil, which is very interesting, and let me go very in depth on this as well. We mentioned the monthly fair value gap, the first monthly fair value gap right there, which, let me delete everything just so we can go into it with a clear mind. All right, we mentioned this monthly fair value gap that is sitting right there. Currently, we did not expand higher off of that. So I was like, all right, we can reach, of course, for this part right there, which is the overlapping part, which is just the breaker right there. It's a little bit of a difficult to see that breaker, but it definitely is a breaker. Then on right here on the weekly, we had this weekly fair value gap that is sitting right there, which is currently pushing price lower. In order for us to be bearish, and let's look at this from a very advanced but very basic standpoint, where right here, if we have bearish price action, we would want to create new bearish fair value gaps on the weekly time frame right here, meaning that this area should not be closed in right there. So if price wants to continue lower next week, it should continue lower immediately. If it fills this in, then it doesn't create a new bearish fair value gap on the weekly time frame, meaning there's not really bearish intention, meaning right there that I would like to follow through on the monthly to continue higher. So that is, again, very important. Then the next part is, on the daily, we saw this fake bottom right there, which we mentioned that it's likely not going to hold. We would want to see a sweep of that to then continue higher potentially. We're coming into that overlapping part. Right now, it's just important to understand, you just wait. So you wait either for bullish fair value gaps to hold. We had a first bullish fair value gap right there. Did it hold? No, because it didn't create a new bullish fair value gap. So you want to wait. Boom, boom, boom. That is where you want to get involved. Those two high probability legs that we talked about in the Market Maker Model Guide. So that is what you want to do. Of course, next thing is, if you have that daily fair value gap higher, then as well, you want to look for higher prices. Now, the thing is here that I'm still looking at higher prices as well. Of course, I'm being very careful, and that is my main thought process right here, where I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting mainly, but I am very interested in if we get those higher prices to target new highs ultimately. That is looking quite interesting as well. So still waiting, but it has the potential. The potential is definitely there. Nifty right here. So Nifty is, I mentioned that we could sweep this fake bottom right there if we want to continue lower off of this right there, which currently does not seem like we want to do. So do we want to continue higher off of this monthly context? Because we have monthly context. And what can we see? That this, again, the same premise. We look at the basics. We also look at the very advanced, which is just the basics. The basics can get so advanced, which is it's so funny to see. But right here, we are not creating a bearish fair value gap on a monthly time frame already. We already know that. Just 6 days into the month. All right. If we want to continue lower, we can still do that, of course. But if we want to continue higher, there's more arguments to it. There's more arguments to continue higher, actually. So in this case, if we want to create bullish fair value gaps as well on the daily, then we just have to take into account this weekly fair value gap as well. Right there, where this is a little bit more 50-50. But if we want to continue higher, then we should disrespect this weekly fair value gap right there to then continue higher as well. In the meantime, right here, you need to be very careful and need to be very aware of that. If we reject off of this, then I would still target that. If we do not reject off of this, so again, there's an if, then it's a very algorithmic statement, as in it's very mechanical, that right here, if we do not reject off of this and we do not show any signs of rejection, then I would just look to target higher and follow through on, on the monthly context, which is very nice. All right, so that is currently what I'm looking at. Again, to sum it up, mainly the pairs and instruments I'm mainly interested in is crude oil, it's AU, EU, and GU, and then it's NASDAQ as well, 4 US dollar pairs. That's currently what I'm mainly interested in. Can change throughout the week, but I'll update you as well on Tuesday. I'm late, Charlie. Come on. No, better late than never. Love to see. What's up, Len? How you doing, brother? How you doing? Love to see it. The legend. Love that. Notice on there. Come on, Charlie. It's a great learning experience. No, appreciate you being here, Charlie. Appreciate it. Let me see. Appreciate you, Bonnie. Appreciate you. Euro Canadian dollar, of course, Hope. Let's go over it. Let's see. Let me see. Yeah, so this is quite interesting. And let me, again, remove everything just so we have a very clear mind going into the charts, which I like to have. We start off with the monthly. Then on the monthly, we see this monthly fair value gap that can just push higher and can just continue higher towards the next premium rate, which is that, and which is also that high right there. And eventually, potentially, that monthly fair value gap right there, very small one. But on the weekly right here, disrespecting weekly fair value gaps, the thing is, we are creating a new weekly fair value gap higher right there. And the reason why I do think price might want to trade into that is because on the daily time frame, if we look at it, we don't really have that clear daily bullish intention. As in, yes, we have a very small fair value gap and I need to stretch my chart out all the way to see it right there. It's just not really great intention right here. And I think price currently is just stalling a little bit and then weekly fair value gap to then continue higher. That could be very nice as well. So that is mainly what I'm waiting for as well. If we do not do that and we do not come into that weekly fair value gap, then the thing we might want to do is like this and continue higher and create a new 4-hour fair value gap off of that. Then I would get involved off of that. But the weekly fair value gap right there is looking quite nice. Yeah, dollar always at the beginning. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can, what is it? Scroll back. No worries. Or watch later, of course. All good. I'm happy they're recorded. So thanks for the analysis. You're the best, bro. No worries. Thank you. Let me see. Today was daylight saving exit for US dollar. What will the changes be? I use UTC -4 and what will the new session timing be? Yeah, so the thing you want to do with session timings is you always want to have a New York. So here on TradingView, you always want to have New York. Then you are always using the right sessions. So because sessions, London session is not really London opening or anything. It's just a very algorithmic way of saying, all right, in London, there are certain deliveries of things that we need to pay attention to. So the algorithm and the algorithm is not really relevant. It's just that the volatility that delivers into the market starts at 2 a.m. New York local time until likely 5 a.m. But it's during the whole day most likely and ends at around, 10 a.m. New York local time. So if you use New York local time, then you're always good. You're always set. New York local time is perfect. So if you use UTC -4, then I would advise to switch to UTC -5 currently. Let me see. UK 100 for sure. Do tell me if I am using the right one, because sometimes I am not using the right one on instruments like this. So first off, let's start off with the monthly context. Monthly context, I can see that this fair value gap is not really pushing higher. So that could already be a target. That swing low there could also be a target, which I already marked out. So let's just leave that one. Otherwise, I don't like when those lines, you sometimes see charts on, not really trying to take shots or anything at anyone, but I sometimes see charts on Instagram or Twitter where there's just lines that close to each other everywhere on the chart. And I'm like, oh, how can you even navigate on that? That's crazy. But right there, this, when it's that close to each other, I just like for just easy to the eye, remove one line. Wow, what a beauty. Then next part is weekly fair value gap right there. Very, very nice rejection already, lower. Looking very nice. Looking very nice to potentially already continue lower off of that. Let me go into the daily time frame. Oh, beautiful rejection lower as well. One resistance part. So we need to understand this is the first resistance part. If we, for example, on Monday, Tuesday, we have something like this, that day where it's just sort of wicky and not really clear, then the next few days where we don't have resistance like this are very nice, are going to be very nice. So here on the 4 hour, we already have 4 hour value gaps. Wow. This is very nice price action. This is looking very good for shorts actually. Yes, this is looking very nice. This is looking very nice for shorts indeed. So shorts right here until, first off, first target is of course this low. Next target is this low right there. So now, based on market structure, you would wait for this intermediate term high to ideally get confirmed right there to continue lower. Yeah, it's really good, looking really good. Euro GBP is cooking. Is Euro GBP cooking? Is it? Is it? Let me see. Let me see. I think it is. Because I also saw something. Yeah, it is. It is. It definitely is. Let me remove everything here. Start off with a fresh mind. Monthly right here. Monthly, currently above that high, but that's not relevant, the monthly right now. At least not really. I like the weekly. And the reason I like the weekly is because we came into the weekly fair value gap right there. A very old weekly fair value gap, but we're seeing a very nice rejection lower. We swept this high as well. We are not rejecting off of this fair value gap, which is sort of the last resistance before we reach for that swing low. And the thing I wanted to mention in the video as well, in the market structure video, is that when I use my bias, so my bias is my direction, I'm aiming always for either a premium or a discount array. So if we're bearish, I'm always aiming for a discount array. That is my bias. That's my draw on liquidity. So then right here, this is looking very nice to potentially reach for this swing low, which is just that discount array. On the daily, we can deliver towards that potentially. Let me see. Do we have some news next week? Let me see. I saw we didn't have a lot of news. GBP news on Monday. Ideally, I want to have something on... Yeah, we have GBP news on Wednesday. Not super ideal. But right here, we can see that daily fair value gap being created to then continue lower as well. That's looking very nice. So in this case, I would wait for the daily, not necessarily go into the 4 hour. In the 4 hour, you can, if you want to trade that Monday for the GBP 4 hour fair value gap right there to continue lower off of that as well. That's looking quite nice as well. Looking quite nice actually. Some opportunities, definitely some opportunities throughout this week. Hola, 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 hola. Hola, mi hermano. Hola, hola. Let me see, let me see. What's the relationship between USD and gold supposed to be? I love that question, David. And I'm not laughing at you, but it's a funny question because the relationship is supposed to be that if the dollar is going higher, gold should be going lower. So it's inversely correlated. But gold sometimes just does whatever it wants to do, where, for example, it's been going higher, where the dollar is also been going higher for a little bit. So it's like, yeah, it's supposed to be inversed. Supposed to be, quote unquote. Enrollments are closed and will open up again on the 24th of November. Lifetime spots are always open. Does this mean we can join the lifetime mentorship anytime without waiting for the 24th of November? Yes, correct, FX Time. And if you want some more information on that FX Time, you can always send me an email, of course, at info@ario.io. But that is correct. Lifetime spots for the masterclass are always open. Reason being for that is mainly because you have all the time you want. Where in enrollments, it's just not that useful if people constantly join with new enrollments not around the corner. So yes, correct, FX Time, correct. GBP New Zealand dollar, of course, my friend, of course. Let me see. What are we doing? Ah, yes, this one was interesting, but right here on the monthly, what are we doing? Monthly just opened new candle, swept the previous month's high. Ooh. Weekly not respecting this weekly candle or weekly fair value gap right there. So I wanted to see higher price of that weekly fair value gap, which we didn't get. All right, right now, I might be able to switch my bias because this daily fair value gap right there, lower, could be very nice to continue lower. If we do not continue lower, so again, that's an if then. So you can write that down as a very if then, is that if we do not continue lower off of this daily fair value gap and we push a little bit above it, then I would say, all right, we are still continuing higher towards that weekly fair value gap. In the meantime, I would like to have shorts off of that right there. So first target for this week would be this swing low. What to do if we have daily or weekly fair value gap in Nifty and it opens or a gap up or gap down next day and we don't have a POI? Please reply below. So in that case, I would still use the same exact weekly or daily POI or fair value gap or whatever it is. And really depending on if you have an example, do you have a date or something where we have an example? For example, this I think you mean, right? Where in this case, I would just still look at the 3 candle patterns. It's a little bit more difficult to navigate, but I would still see, all right, this is potentially a fair value gap right there. Because if this candle was just an expansion phase, which I count the gap then. So the best thing you can do is no gaps candles. Oh, completely mistyped that. No gaps candles right there. Turn it on and then you'll see, all right, this one is a small fair value gap right there. And potentially creating a new fair value gap as well right there, which we can continue higher off of. So that is how I would use it. Boss. Boss. Love to see it. So expecting reversals in higher time frame fair value gaps is like this. Monthly H4, weekly H4, H1, daily H1 and lower. Yes, that is correct. It depends on if you're looking for an entry though. Because the thing is right there, if I'm looking for dollar and I want to look for an entry, then the thing I'm doing is I'm waiting for 4-hour fair value gap right there and another 4-hour fair value gap higher right there. But if we are looking for an entry but on the 5-minute time frame, for example, then I would wait for 1 4-hour fair value gap higher to then go into the 5-minute inside that fair value gap to then continue higher. If that makes sense. Ooh. Let me see, brother. Let me see. Euro CHF. Ah, yes, this was one of those, right? One of those. Yeah, exactly. So currently, we are not respecting that weekly fair value gap right there. Not at all, which I did expect it to. So right now, I would argue, all right, we might be heading towards that high, which is just a premium ray again. So how can we deliver there? Well, we are potentially creating, again, a daily fair value gap higher. With a nice order block as well, which is very nice, actually. Daily fair value gap higher to target that premium ray right there. So I would switch it currently. Let me see, AJ. AJ, where's your question, my friend? Where's your question here? Why on dollar? Why you are only looking for 1 4-hour value gap from monthly? Why not 2 4-hour value gap? Yeah, so that's the thing that Ems also asked me just now, which I also explained. That is because on the dollar, for me to look for a 5-minute entry, I just need 1 4-hour value gap. But for me to look for an entry on the 4-hour itself, I need 2 right there, if that makes sense. Those UK 100 shorts, they look great. Look at Australian dollar JPY. I'm thinking about the retracement to 4-hour fair value gap overlapping with old high to be a support for price higher. What do you think about this idea? Thanks. Let me see. Forex.com. Since when is Pepperstone higher than Forex.com? Is that with everything? No. What? That's crazy. All right, let me see. Monthly, what are we doing? Likely reaching for that high based on the monthly. Just only based on the monthly. What were you looking at, TJ? Let me see. I'm thinking about the retracement to 4-hour fair value overlapping with old high. Let me see. So here on the weekly, I do see we have this potential recent high. On the daily, we have not really nice daily fair value gaps, to be honest, with overlapping highs. But a daily fair value gap could be very nice to push higher towards that high. And on the 4 hour, ooh, that is looking quite nice. Yes, that is looking very nice. I think you're aiming for this fair value gap with that high. That is very nice, actually. That's also what I would have right there. Definitely. Unless we create a daily fair value gap right there, then I would like to have to work with the daily fair value gaps. But yeah, that's looking very nice. It's looking very nice. Thank you for the weekly forecast and appreciate you putting in this much time. Which platform would you recommend for EU residents to trade US dollar pairs and crosses? No worries, Efa. Thank you for being a part of it, of course. Thank you, thank you. And what I would advise, the platform or the broker I would advise is, if you're actually looking to execute, of course, then I would say IC Markets. That's personally what I'm using. Now, I've not had any problems personally with them just yet. Might happen, of course, but that is what I would use, IC Markets. Let me see. What is your criteria to decide entering in the first leg or the second one? Great question, Murat. And the thing there is how do I explain that without giving away everything that's in the mentorship? No, but how would I tell that? It's like if I'm looking for confirmation of a PD raise. So for example, monthly fair value gap right there, I'm not necessarily looking at an entry just yet. If I want to, because you need to understand, I mainly look at entering off the 15-minute or the 5-minute time frame. That's mainly what I'm looking at, and the 1 minute. So if I have the 4 hour right there, 4 hour fair value gap, just one leg higher, then combining the time frames correctly, I would need 2 4 hour legs higher for me to enter off the 4 hour itself. For me to enter off the 5 minute, I just need that 1 4 hour leg higher. For me to enter off the daily, I also need just 1 daily leg higher to enter right there, if that makes sense. So it's combining those time frames correctly, because I understand that this 4 hour leg higher right there with that 5 minute entry is just basically the confirmation of that next leg that is following through. So then that is what I don't get on the 4 hour itself if I was to enter right there, if that makes sense. If that makes sense. Crosses are just basically every Forex pair that is not involved with the US dollar. So these, for example, are the crosses that I personally go over. You can also call them, they're very, very, they're also, what is it? I'm not sure what they're called, actually. You have majors, then you have the other ones. Let me see. ERL versus IRL. I watched many videos on that, but I would appreciate it. Yeah, maybe that's a good idea actually for a video. That's a good idea actually for a video. Could be very nice. The next thing I wanted to touch on actually on the video was potentially fair value gaps plus liquidity, which could also be very beneficial. Let me see. Australian dollar, Canadian dollar. Let me see, Koen. Let me see. Australian dollar, Canadian dollar. Yeah, weekly fair value gap there as well. Although this candle has been expanding higher, and as well this weekly fair value gap, of course. If you're talking about that one, yeah, for sure. Inside that. So currently here, it's like, yeah, I just want to take a little bit step back. We reached that drawn liquidity, the very easy drawn liquidity. That's where we look to get involved as well. And then after, just take a small step back as well to see whatever it wants to do. But it's the potential is there. The potential is for sure there if it wants to set something up. GBP Australian dollar. Let's see. Ah, yes, this one is quite nice. And I'm likely going to look at this as well, because we have Monday Australian dollar or GBP news already. So here, if we get this sweep of that Friday high, potentially, of course, if we get it, then this daily fair value gap can continue lower towards that low. This is looking very nice, actually. Looking very nice. Looking very, very nice, actually. I sometimes use BPR, yeah, but don't really pay attention to it specifically. CHF JPY, let me see. CHF JPY. Yeah. We had the weekly right there, which could expand higher. Only thing here is that we're struggling to continue higher. So ideally, I want to see some verticals higher as well. But overall, it's looking very nice. Let me see. Thank you for your forecast and the time you give for us, Ari. I hope you do a live training session once. For sure. I do them currently in the masterclass, but my live training session is not that I time them usually. As in, like, I have high probability days and I have certain conditions for my high probability days. So they're announced in the masterclass the day before. But if I do take a trade, for example, on a Tuesday, then yeah. Je t'aime, mon frère. I love you too, brother. I love you too. But yeah, thank you, Ahmed. Really appreciate it. Thank you. From Brazil. Love to see it, Tavas. Love to see it. Love that. Do you have any students which successfully done your mentorship masterclass and you know that they continue in trading? And do you have an approximate overview of percentage of students who begun? I do. There's a lot of students. Again, I don't know the exact percentage, but it might actually be a good idea. But there's quite a lot of students that got funded or got their payouts, etc. after the masterclass, so they are indeed successful, and they continue trading for sure. And I know that as well because they keep me updated through private message or whatever. And then the second question is trading individually and who gave up course. Do you have at least one student on which you are really proud of him or her? Could you describe their success? Thank you. Have a nice Sunday. You too, Andrea. You too. Thank you. Great questions again. I remember you also asked great question last week. So the thing, it's a funny thing. I don't necessarily have one person inside the mentorship that I'm really proud of. As in, yes, of course, here and there. It's very funny to see for me because I see the progress in people, which they don't see themselves. When you're in a boat and you're in the middle of the ocean, you tend to not see your progress because you're not seeing if the land is coming closer. You're only seeing the land that just you came from, and you're not seeing how far you still have to go. And then if you have that overview, as in I have that bird's eye view of people and can see their progress because we also talked about it in the first place, then overall I can see a lot of progress in different people. For example, Zeus is also a lot in the chat right here. Sometimes even Len made a lot of progress, was also earlier in this chat as well, which all people, and again, I'm just naming those two, but it's not limited to those two. I'm extremely proud of every single one of those people that are making progress. And the second thing is that usually people like Muckles, I'm not sure, sometimes he's here in the chat as well, Muckles, it's just one of those extremely proud moments where in the first 6 months, usually people, they are working and they're not really seeing what they're working for. As in, they're like, will this pay off? And the thing, when it pays off, I can only thank you because you put trust in me. So when it eventually pays out after 6 months, then usually people get to funded accounts. Then usually people get to certificates, etc. Might also take longer, but usually on average it's about 6 months. Because we also have Ayana. It's one of the essential members, actually, that's also sometimes in this chat. And I think it is she told me that she was funded after the first month inside the essential program, not even the masterclass program, which is also extremely proud. And then, of course, Phil as well, which is also something in the chat. I can't name them enough. It's all those people. They all make me proud. And to answer your question, what am I the least proud of? Because I'm proud of everyone. But what am I the least proud of? More so disappointed. I sound like maybe a parent. I'm not angry. I'm more so disappointed. Is when people tend to strategy hop. That is when I'm like, oh, come on. Why do you strategy hop? And that is just an endless cycle. And that is what disappoints me. But of course, that's also, I try to control it, but I only have so much control. So I hope that answers your question. How can you remember my questions? I have a good memory, my friend. At least I hope so. I have a good memory. Let me see. Yeah, JJ, my chart colors, if you go to my YouTube, to my shorts, or my Instagram, on the reels, I have it pinned as well. I go over them fully. Or in the Telegram, you can click on the pinned messages and you'll find it as well. I'm not in mentorship, but my confidence is increasing day by day after watching this live. So yeah, love that as well. Love that. And again, yeah, that's exactly the thought process as well, that you don't necessarily need to be in a mentorship, as in, otherwise I wouldn't be doing these live streams, and I wouldn't be doing the YouTube videos as well. So yeah, it's very important. A video on psychology. I love to talk about psychology. So it might be a good option for sure. Yeah, that's a great question, Ems. And since there's not a lot of news coming this week, do you also trade the days without any news or not? And I try to avoid days without news. If there's still volatility, for example, we have FOMC on Wednesday, then that Thursday is still very volatile. So that Thursday, when I don't have news, I can still trade it if there's volatility from yesterday. Just make sure, ideally you want to have CPI, NFP, or FOMC, something like that. Other than that, I would say no, just avoid no news days, which is why next week is also looking pretty somber, you could call it. Let me see. And Andrea as well. I've been reaching out to Money Making Team members as well to sort of give them interviews, which would be very nice. To give them interviews and tell them their experience, etc. It would be very nice. How often do you do one-on-one in the masterclass? Because many mentors said they do, but when you ask or need help, they just ignore after you got your paid. Yeah, this is sad, very sad to be honest to hear. And you can ask the members in the masterclass as well. I do free masterclass one-on-ones as well, and completely free of charge. All the people need to do is just send me a message and we'll get it set up as well. And then the next thing is I do have something where I'm still keeping those free one-on-ones as well, because I just want to be that a part of the masterclass. And the next thing is as well, that's likely also going to be a paid option, because if people want even more of my time, then they can do that. But again, the free one is also there. Laura, I'm just wanting to let you know, a new member of the masterclass, and wait to get started. Love that, and can't wait to get started. Love that, Anthony. We'll get to you soon as well in the Discord, of course. We'll see you there. Love that. Thanks for quoting me. I sent you an email this morning. I want to be part of your mentorship. Love that, Phil. Thank you, Phil. Thank you. Love that. And yeah, definitely going to be looking at that as well. Going over my emails, my Discord. Don't worry. MF, lol. I see you, MF. I see you. Oh, that's funny. Let me see. What do you think about seasonal tendencies? And we are shifting to bullish market and bearish dollar. There's S&P divergential indices that supports bullish market in upcoming weeks. Yeah, could very well be the case, Ahmed. And for bullish tendencies, or for seasonal tendencies in general, I don't necessarily look at it, because for me it's a confirmation that tends to confuse me more than actually be beneficial. From my experience, when I used to use seasonal tendencies, the thing I saw was that seasonal tendencies would say something and the technicals would say something else, and the technicals also always played out, as in the technicals just led me to whatever I needed to know. So the seasonal tendency, if the seasonal tendency for dollar is bearish, which could very well be, then here on the dollar, I will see it coming. As in, we will just disrespect this monthly fair value gap right there to then continue lower. So I will already see it coming that I need to be bearish right there, if that makes sense. So I don't need that extra confirmation, if that makes sense. Yeah, great question, Millennium. And next week, the only thing that's holding me back again is the lack of news. It's not a great news week, but other than that, US dollar is still pretty tradable. The crosses, we have something like GBP. It's just being very specific about our days that we do want to trade. So yeah, it's a little bit holding back, but overall we can still trade it. It's just we can't go full margin, if that makes sense. Again, exaggeration, but can't go full margin. We'll go over it, Winston. We'll go over it. I think I did I not answer? Did I not answer all my emails? We'll go over it, Winston. Thanks for letting me know. Letting me know. Are you gonna have a discount for your masterclass for Black Friday? So Yeah, it's very funny because I did mention it that it's going to be some kind of holiday discount deal. It's not going to be a monetary, as in, yes, it's going to be monetary, but it's not your usual, hey, you have $100, €100 off right now. No, it's going to be, I would say, better. I would say better because you're going to really enjoy it. Really enjoy it. But it's not your typical, hey, here's 50% off. Which is, we find a middle way, because I know quite a lot of people would like a discount as well, but I'm likely not going to give a discount. So we find a middle way as well, which will be very interesting. But you'll like it. Don't worry, you'll like it. Otherwise, I wouldn't call it a deal. Let me see. No worries. Machindra. No worries. Do you have any vids for people who want to trade Asia session? That's a great question. And the thing is right there that you mainly want to trade New Zealand dollar pairs or Australian dollar pairs. And then the next thing is as well, when you have Australian dollar news or New Zealand dollar news, something along the lines of that, very late during the day, that is when you want to trade those Asia sessions. So for example, let me look at example actually, because there was one example last week. New Zealand dollar CHF, no. Which one was it? I don't remember which one it was, but because usually what you then tend to see is that, for example, here, then because you have that news, then the low gets created in Asia session, so then it's very tradable. That makes sense. Hey Ario, I also sent an email a few days ago. Looking forward to hearing back to you when you have the time. Thank you for your love that, Ishan. Love you. Love that. I love you too, man. Love you too. love that. Yeah, I will go over my emails. No worries. You can hear my brain is fried. I just start speaking gibberish. Let me see. What if I have to sacrifice for free seat in masterclass? Tell me, master. Well, a free seat in a masterclass. It's. I got one offer from a lovely someone, and thank you for that offer. I got an offer from someone that was willing to give me their first payout, etc. That's not necessarily what I'm looking for. If you want to help me and you want to have a free seat in the masterclass, then I would like, all right, what value do you give to me? So if you give me value, if you give me something to get back my time, then I would say, all right, maybe we can work something out. Other than that, I would say, yeah, you'd have to come up with something good. Get creative. But again, it's not forced. Like, you don't need to what is it? Like, it's very rare that I give out a free seat. Do you recommend ICT in crypto market? Yes, but I don't recommend trading in crypto market. And again, that's my personal preference, of course. It's more so that the volatility in crypto market is Bitcoin, mainly Bitcoin, because I'm not super familiar with the crypto market, but mainly Bitcoin. It's just not really clean. It's just very little volatility. So then it becomes very difficult to trade as well, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's mainly it. But the kill zones, I would say leave them. Mainly news days. News days are still beneficial. And for the rest, it's also very nice. What are your hobbies, Ario? Thank you for asking me. What are your hobbies? And what is my hobbies? What are my hobbies? I do have to tell you that my biggest hobby is work. I don't know. It's just very addicted to just working, working on something, creating something. You could say creating things is my hobby. Being an entrepreneur is my hobby. But yeah, I do earn money with it. So if you were to take away the monetary value of it, as in the monetary side, then what would be my hobby? Maybe I like kickbox. but I've just recently been doing it. And other than that, basketball. I've been playing basketball for a very long time. Other than that, don't really have a lot of hobbies, to be honest. I'm a pretty boring guy. Caught you any scammer by your learning journey? Not really. I had one, which was I won't say who it was, but it was just, was it really a scammer? I mean, yeah, probably, but it's just those signals providers, where it's just, yeah, the signal providers was just like, no. Yeah, that's what I fell for once. Was very early on. Fell for it once. How many hours do you spend with your hobby work daily? Too much. Actually, to be honest, I'm doing nothing else. As in, yes, of course, I go out with my friends here and there, or I go to the, what is it? I just, not really going out. As in, me personally, just to sketch you a view, to give you no context, I'm not really a guy who likes to go out. As in, with going out, I mean clubbing or drinking and stuff. Don't really enjoy that myself. But I do really like just sitting with people and just talking about things. And that's also, of course, what you can probably hear, because I like to talk a lot. And, of course, listen a lot as well. That's what I also like, so don't worry. But I just like talking, connecting with people. And next to that, I'm only working. So the full day, honestly, I'm just working, doing things for the mentorship, doing things for myself, for my trading, doing things for social media, whatever it is. Constantly busy. Constantly. And I always have emails to answer, so there's always something to do. Yeah, Bruno, you can also send me, Bruno Cherry, you can also send me, or check the description, or I'll send you, or send me an email at info@ario.io, and we'll go over it fully as well. Let me check. How was your week in terms of trading? Any trades? I did not catch any trade, or I did not even look to trade actively. So yeah, personally did nothing really this week trading myself wise, whilst I usually use those weeks where I know I'm likely not going to trade. Then I just go do whatever I need to do for the mentorship, or work on something else, which then I have a lot of time for. I like to talk a lot. Perfect. That's perfect. Perfect, Paolo. I like that. Can you describe the day where you realize that you are consistent and you can make a living out of trading? Yeah, I got this question last week as well. And I got it on Tuesday, actually, I think. And the question was, when did you know you became profitable? Or how was it? How was the feeling? And it's not necessarily an achievement. It is an achievement, of course, but it's not that that all of a sudden, it's not like binary. As in, the one is, hey, you're profitable all of a sudden, and 0 is you're not profitable. It's a slow process of it. But if you mean like, all right, I got funded, etc., or I got an investor and now I could make money off of it, that's a great feeling. And again, that's a very slow process towards it. And almost when you are working towards it, it doesn't really come as a surprise anymore, which is also very funny. Of course, you're very grateful for it. As in, I'm very grateful that it happened. And at that moment, it feels like you can get a little bit emotional maybe. And you're like, oh, we finally did it. Like finally something is paying off, which is very nice to see. And then next to that, it's like, you just go with the flow and you're working towards it. So you're becoming a trader slowly. And that is the thing. As in, a lot of people think that, I'm not saying you think that, Millennium, because it's a great question. But a lot of people think that becoming profitable is just turning on a switch. It's not turning on a switch. It's failing. It's falling. It's doing stupid things over and over again. And you sort of turn into this trader. You morph into this trader slowly. You don't just become it. You don't just choose yourself, I'm a trader and now I'm profitable. No, it's a slow grinding process. And then, of course, looking back at it, when you can make a living off of it, that's amazing. It's just can only be grateful. And it's very important for myself as well, because I do not tend to do that, to look back at things and think, wow, I came a long way. And even if you are not profitable, just looking back at your progress and say, wow, I came a long way. Can only get better from here. And that is exactly what you would want to have. That's perfect. Let me see. It's truly a process in which your puzzle gets more clear. There's no single piece where you think, I know what the puzzle will look like. It's the gradual process of laying puzzle pieces. Exactly, Len. Len is just, man, this guy is so insane at writing those stories and stuff. That's insane. And analogies as well. Exactly. That's perfect. That's perfect. What is your routine before being in front of the charts? So my routine is very easy. I don't like to do a lot of things before I get into in front of the charts. When I trade London, which I did tend to do most of the time, nowadays it's more so equities open as well. But when I just trade London, the thing I like to do is I wake up, of course. I hope, at least. And then next thing I do is I go into the bathroom, I brush my teeth, drink some water, maybe go look at some sunlight really quick, but only maybe 5 minutes. Then after I just hop on the charts. That's it. So yeah, it's a very easy routine and very simple as well. So the thing we focus on in Mentorship as well is that you don't want to waste a lot of brain points before you get into the charts. So if you need to read a book, if you need to do this, if you need to do that, before you dive into the charts, then the likelihood of you messing up in the charts is going to be way higher than when you just have a very simple routine. You need to do this, charts. Perfect. That makes sense. Which broker chart are you using for US 30 and US 100? It's a CME. It's a paid package right here. This is YM. It's the futures contract. This is NASDAQ right there, NQ, and then right there the E-mini NASDAQ CME. What's your advice to fight FOMO and being more patient? Well, it's very funny because it's FOMO, and in general, psychology is just telling yourself things over and over and over and over until you actually believe it. So with FOMO, it's like, if I don't stick to my rules, and the first thing with FOMO is to understand actually that you need to have a clear trading plan. If you don't have a clear trading plan, then you will likely always FOMO in because you don't know what to do. If you don't have guidelines guiding you towards what entry you need to take, then it's always going to be FOMO and always going to be very messy and stuff. So if you have the trading plan and you're still experiencing FOMO, then I would highly advise to tell yourself, at least from my experience, whenever I don't stick to my trading plan, I always tend to lose. So when I FOMO in or when I do something that's not in my trading plan, then I always tend to lose. So for me, it's just if I stick to the trading plan, and again, that's just, you need to tell yourself over and over, you need to experience it probably over and over and over until you actually believe it to the point where you start sticking to your trading plan. And other than that, for my FOMO and for impatience, what I had is, because I was also very impatient and a very impatient person, practice patience outside of trading as well. So if I need to wait for someone, then don't get annoyed. Just wait. If I need to do anything involved patience, then I just practice that patience outside of trading as well, because that carries over to trading itself as well. Who got you into trading? It first was that I was doing e-commerce, and e-commerce I was doing quite all right. I was making a nice amount of profit, but the margins on e-commerce, at least my margins, were just absolutely horrendous. And next thing is, I was looking at those shares, as in I was looking at potentially investing in some shares, in some stocks, etc. So I was like, this is quite interesting, but this is quite nice because I'm making profit on investing in those stocks. Maybe I can do this daily because then the margins are even better, etc. And then the next thing is that, next thing I knew is that I was on the Trading 212 app, and you have a Forex section right there. And I was doing that as well, and trying to do it, and didn't work. And then I went down the rabbit hole, and I started off with pretty fast ICT as well. And before e-commerce, like MF mentioned as well, basketball. Before that, I was doing basketball. My age is 22 years old. I am 22 years old. What you think about space touring? Will you go? I personally love the idea, but I love space and I love everything that comes with it. So I've always, since I was little, I've always wanted to go to space. Now I will likely not become an astronaut, but if space tourism is available, and I can afford it, etc., then I would love to go. Absolutely. Absolutely. Even though I will probably shit myself whilst going up, but it will be lovely. Absolutely. Trading the same casino. It's true. Yeah. For sure. Your mentorship is always open or is it attached to specific dates? For the masterclass package, the monthly option is not always open, and that is because it's getting too clustered. It's an exclusive Discord, and Essential is always open. Masterclass Lifetime is also always open. Does that make sense? What's up, Lucas? How are you doing? I also saw your email. Love to see it. All right, let me see. Hello, Ario. My question: monthly PD rate, 4-hour ST, weekly PD rate, 1-hour ST, daily PD rate, 1-hour ST. Why not 50 minutes? Yeah, daily PD rate you can use. No. Wait. Weekly, daily PD rate, 1-hour ST. Indeed, weekly PD rate, 4-hour ST. If you want to, depending on the context, actually, if you're looking for entries, then monthly PD rate is daily ST. Weekly PD rate is 4-hour ST. Daily PD rate is 1-hour ST. If you're looking for entries, Lucas. If you're looking for another confirmation off of that, so you look for 50-minute or 5-minute entries, then you would again go down in time frames before that. Yeah, exactly. Creative source. Perfect. I was not in any ICT private group, and that's funny because I tend to get that question quite often if I was in any private group or anything. And I was not. And I was not mentored by ICT himself, or at least not privately or anything. I was not privately mentored by ICT himself, but I do see it as a compliment because that probably people think that means that, or they assume that because the knowledge I have. And that's funny because that leads me and that gives me extra confirmation of the theory that I already had, which is that all the necessary knowledge that you need is in your own mind. So it's all doing your own studying, where ICT taught me the basics. And other than that, it was all done through my own studying. Everything. So that is also why where I need to give credit, I give credit. But other than that, a lot of things and most things is all do my own studying, which you can also achieve the exact same thing. So yeah. Can we put 3,000 lot per trade in Forex? You can. you can. The next thing is for, I believe, what is it? Like big lots is like 10,000 from 10,000. That's like institution stuff. But it's not your typical IC markets. So you need to have a very good broker. For example, Interactive Broker, you can, I think, use it. And you would have to actually be an institution, be a prop firm. It's a pain in the ass. But you can for sure. Getting filled though, depends on what you want to trade. If you want to trade a 5-minute chart, then I wish you the best of luck. Might take some time before you get filled. Depends on quite a few conditions. Do you have financial freedom? Well, it depends on the definition of financial freedom. It really depends on the definition. As in, my finances are all right. I'm okay with it. Do I have freedom, financial freedom to do whatever I want, whenever I want? I would say no, not yet. But I'm also under a system where that is going to be very difficult. I don't have FU money. But other than that, I can't complain. Like, really. I think once you understand technicals, here is a big part of psychology that comes into play. Like IC says, being a good analyst doesn't automatically mean being a great execution. Yeah, exactly. And that's also why we, in the mentorship, we have an analyst phase and an execution phase. Because it's very different from each other. It's very true. Very true. Do you look at the quarterly theory? I do not look at the quarterly theory myself. At least it's already incorporated into my plan, but I don't need to pay attention to it. Is your bias going into this week is bullish on the indices, right? Or did I get it wrong? Yeah, mainly bullish, but mainly bullish. But really depends on what the dollar wants to do, Mauricio. Where if the dollar wants to continue higher, then I'm still expecting lower indices. But going into the week, I would say yes, bullish. Yes. On which time frame do you usually enter the trade? Depends on the PD rate, but mainly 5 minutes, 15 minutes, and potentially 1 minute sometimes. Depends on the PD rate. Net worth. I can't tell you my net worth. I can't tell you that. No, I won't tell you that, my friend. Opinion on market maker model trading style. It's nice. Only thing is that market maker model in itself is like, it's like a fancy word of just a very easy cycle that happens. Like, but that's everything with trading, and especially in the smart money concept, the ICT space. It's like everything needs to be made so fancy. Whilst it's just, yes, it's nice, but it just doesn't need to be that difficult or anything. But other than that, yeah, great. I also use it. Are you married? I'm not married. No, not yet. No. Let me see. Sometimes I get trader's block. Sometimes I analyze too much, like, and sometimes I get stuck. Do you have your Discord, like, where you provide just a simple weekly dollar analysis, nothing more? I have made, yeah, I do. Like, for example, the forecast here, everything I do in my forecast is just very step by step. As in, I tell you what I'm looking at. For example, EU, the only thing I'm looking at is very step by step. I want bearish fair value gaps. That's it. If that doesn't happen and we continue higher and we create bullish fair value gaps, then I will adjust my bias and I will let you know. So in that sense, yes, it's very easy to understand. I don't trade Nifty personally myself, but I do a forecast in it. But I don't trade it personally myself. Do you believe in spiritual powers or frequency things, etc.? What is your take on that? I always love that once when the live stream gets further. How long have you been live? 1 hour and 20 minutes. That slowly we start getting into other questions. I really like that. I really like that. And to answer your question, it's yeah, I do to some degree, but it's like everyone believes in something, I reckon. Even if you think you don't believe in anything, you believe in something. And I do believe in a higher power. And my main, the main thing I believe in is, don't know if you read the book Reality Transurfing, but that has completely changed my life. And that is what I like. That is what I like. I like that theory, etc. Do you have a girlfriend? I do have a girlfriend. Yes. Exactly, Alexander. Exactly. Got you. However, does every time frame must be in context, or if monthly has no fair value gaps but daily has, I can enter on daily fair value gap in the 5-minute time frame and target it. Yeah, exactly. Hyro. Yes, perfect. Exactly. Doesn't have to be. You don't have to be everything in context. But even if monthly doesn't have fair value gap and the daily is in context, as in the daily has that context, then the daily is still in context of that monthly, if that makes sense. As long as they're below the daily, there's no reason to come back below it. For example, here on the dollar, there was a reason to come back below this low because it was not in context of monthly. But all this price action right here, continuing higher right here, you don't need to wait for a monthly fair value gap, of course. You can just trade the daily fair value gaps that are sitting right there. What do you think about synthetic indices offered by a derivative broker? Yeah, I'm not too sure what that is. I haven't dived into it too deep. The only thing is that I've seen someone trade that was in the mentorship, in my mentorship as well, and I highly advise to not trade it. And the reason for that is because I asked the person, like, what is behind price action on a synthetic indices? As in, there's nothing behind it. So then I was like, that is the perfect opportunity for manipulation to happen. And that doesn't really make sense to me to then trade it. So it's yeah, I think if you want to actually trade, then step away from it and look at Forex and actual indices, etc. We're getting into reality transurfing now. Exactly. we are. And I actually have the book next to me here because I'm going to read it again. Because I always notice whenever I read something along the lines of reality transurfing, etc., or just on that topic, then I perform at my best. Even if I'm not reading any other book which also has great knowledge, whenever I read that book or anything related to it, then I perform at my best. It's very funny how that works. But yeah. Officially a member of your mosque. Love to see it, Anthony. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome, my friend. I just got a Discord thing. Might be you then. I see Toulon just joined the server. Whoever Toulon is, might be Anthony. Welcome, my friend. Love to see it. Love to see it. Let me check. Love to see it. Love that. The book by Vadim Zeeland. Yes. I have a girlfriend. Yes, Pura. Yes. Toulon. Love that, Anthony. Welcome. I will welcome you later on today as well on the Discord. Give me a few moments and I'll get to you. No worries. Hey guys. Hey, Finding Fairways. Love it. Welcome. Welcome. Great to see you here. What's your thoughts on Canadian dollar JPY? Let me see. Canadian dollar JPY. So yeah, right here, I'm likely expecting bullish price again. I switched my bias right there because we had a bullish fair value gap overlapping the bearish fair value gap, which is just a very nice ST in a sense. So here, if we can get 4-hour higher prices, daily higher price as well, targeting again that high potentially. That is my main thought process right now. Barrett trying to risk REO. exactly. Exactly my thoughts as well. Like, no problem, bro. I'm excited to be surrounded by like-minded individuals. That is lovely, Anthony. And the thing is that it's so underrated to be surrounded by like-minded people. And it's so underrated to listen to the live streams or the YouTube videos that I have consistently, or any mentor. Doesn't need to be me. But if you truly want to learn from someone and you know this guy is like, or this woman is here to actually help me, then listen to them over and over and over and over. And the reason for that is because the mindset that they have, you also get it. And that's why it's so strong to surround yourself with like-minded individuals, because when you have psychology issues or something, everything gets reaffirmed, you constantly hear the right things, and you truly start to believe it. That is very important. That is very important. Hyro, love that. Do you play video games? I would love to, but I honestly don't really have the time to play video games. And usually what I notice when I play video games, I tend to forget the whole world. As in, when I used to play video games, I was just 24/7 playing video games, doing nothing else anymore, which led me to eventually fall behind on certain things that I needed to do, etc. And currently I just don't really have the time. Even if I had the time, then I probably would not want to do it. But I do, I like video games. I do like it. He has to play with his girlfriend now. Yeah, it's also a factor. I have to I have to give some attention to my girlfriend now. Oy. Do you have a gaming PC setup? Yeah, I have a gaming PC setup. My monitors are not meant to game. I can game on my PC. As in, my monitor is not really meant for gaming, but I can game on my PC, which is what is it? 3060 Ti and E9, something along the lines of that. I don't really use SMT for confirmation, but you can use it. But the thing is, it's already incorporated into whatever I use. Conspiracy theory video games are put in place to do just that. Yeah, exactly my thoughts as well. I was thinking like a few weeks ago or a month ago or something, because here in the Netherlands, a lot of things you buy, you need to actually put together, like IKEA. Like IKEA, you buy it and you need to assemble it yourself. It's like, is this just, what is this? Is it just to waste everyone's time? Like, honestly, I don't really have the time I like IKEA, but I don't really have the time to go to IKEA and then assemble it myself. Like, it's such a pain in the ass. And is it like just to waste people's time? As in, you can't do anything else. You have to do that before you can even get to work or something. It's like, it was just a thought I had, but yeah. GBP Australian dollar, for sure. It's the last thing I'll do right here, and then I'm heading out as well. GBP Australian dollar. Yeah, this was the one where that high Daily Vega right there. I want to see lower prices of that to deliver towards that low. Can potentially already be interesting on Monday as well. That is looking quite nice. All right, then I'm going to end it here. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Murat. Thank you, Greg. Love you too, man. Thank you. And I'll see everyone at the next one on Tuesday, of course. Tuesday, 11 a.m. New York local time. Thank you. See you, everyone. Thank you. Thank you, Len. Thank you. Much love, everyone. Bye-bye.